Keep Right with Ralph K. Ginorio. Why did they do it? When war comes, it is always a shock. For those who experience the transition from peace to war, nothing will ever be the same again. When the 1914 to 1918 war began, British Foreign Minister Sir Edward Grey famously wrote, "The lamps are going out all over Europe. We shall not see them lit again in our lifetimes." He was correct. The genteel world that had evolved in the 99 years since the last general war, the defeat of Napoleon, died just as finally as the over 20 millions who were killed in World War I. Their lives before the world were as surely lost as those additional 20 millions who were wounded in that war. Everything that has happened since has been an echo of that long-lost war. World War II, the Cold War, and the War on Terror all have their origins in the Great War. Communism, fascism, National Socialism, and all other forms of totalitarianism germinated in the trenches. The State of Israel, Arab nationalism, decolonization, and all of the related anarchy that has marked the rise of the Third World burst out from that struggle. Genocides like those perpetrated against Armenians, Ukrainians, Russians, Jews, Chinese, Cambodians, Yugoslavs, Rwandans, Uyghurs, and Sudanese, just to name a few, all came from the Great War's total commitment to victory at any cost. Eugenics and the social Darwinism were both loosed from the shattered Pandora's box of Victorian morality. Raw hatreds that were previously only seen in the intensity of religious or civil war, hatreds not seen on the European mainland since the 30 Years' War, have become commonplace since 1914. Now, such murderous passions and ideologies can be served by the fruits of industrial innovation. Torture using dental tools and electricity, the use of poison gas, napalm, firebombs, atomic bombs, natural plagues, and supergerms are all now part of an ever-expanding arsenal for the next Armageddon. Battle between nations has spread from the surface of the land and water to include deep underground, underwater, the atmosphere, near-Earth space, and cyberspace. Entire national populations can be put at risk by their own governments, as during the Ukrainian famine, Stalin's purges, the final solution, the Great Leap Forward, the Cultural Revolution, the killing fields, and variant flavors of contemporary ethnic cleansing. Civilians have increasingly become the primary targets of militaries rather than other soldiers. The notions of limits on conduct, both in wartime and in peace, remain as only quaint anachronisms from a bygone age. As I write, the next general war seems far too close for comfort. Right now, America is reacting to increasing threats to the safety of its citizens and society. We may suddenly need to fight in Mexico, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, Europe, and more seriously in Korea, Taiwan, the Indian Ocean, and the Pacific Ocean. We might even need to do all of this simultaneously. For the first time since the 19th century, we may even need to fight right here at home against the many millions of enemy soldiers who were imported into the American homeland by the Biden administration. Flowing electrical power, clean water, open roads, clear airspace, safe streets, reliable food supplies, equipped hospitals, and the internet may all become only memories as the sinews of our society are purposely cut by our enemies. And we would be facing all of this as a people more divided than at any time since the American Civil War. Our most self-critical and reform-minded have abandoned anything recognizably American to embrace the demonstrably suicidal ravings of Karl Marx. The propagandistic education system that has indoctrinated generations of Americans into cultural masochism and self-loathing. Most Democrat leaders have transformed from being a loyal opposition into being enemies of personal conscience, free speech, private property, healthy families, colorblind meritocracy, and limited government. Conservatives, libertarians, and just plain folks have been awakened to the danger that this shift poses to our ongoing liberty. Human nature being what it is, there is every possibility that some among the Make America Great Again coalition will go too far and produce something just as ugly on the right. Neither President Donald J. Trump nor any American who believes in God, free thinking, uncensored expression, the Second Amendment, private property, and the existence of only two genders is an existential threat to freedom. To the contrary, the MAGA movement is perhaps the West's last great hope for restoration. Dark times may be ahead, as they were for those enjoying that last summer of peace in 1914. I pray that this is not the case. If the crisis does come, we should each trust in God and try our flawed best to do our duty. As Churchill once said, we should try to make such an ordeal our finest hour. Absolutely every problem that we now face is being funded and supported in some way by the Chinese Communist Party. They have been at war with us for a very long time, but they have fought in such a way that we have been able to live in denial of this existential threat. Remember, the Islamists did the same thing, waging a low-grade but intensifying war with the United States after the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Only on 9/11 did most Americans awaken to this horrible reality. We should also remember how the Chinese communists acquired the resources to threaten the world's peace and contemplate global domination. It was officials in every American administration between Nixon and Biden, except Trump, who increasingly claimed how safe it was to invest in mainland China. Mere months after the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989, President George Herbert Walker Bush smoothed pathways for more massive investment in Red China than ever before. Americans and Western investors heeded this siren song, making possible China's surveillance state, espionage capabilities, foreign interventions, and military modernization. Why did they do it? We must answer this if we are to put a stop to it before it is too late. Western investors have simply been too complacent, greedy, short-sighted, apolitical, historically ignorant, or ideologically compromised to stop funding our most dangerous foe. What price may we each have to pay for their partnership with the most evil regime in the world today? Thank you for listening. Good day.